So I'm listening to the Bulwark podcast with Jen Psaki and Tim Miller. I was curious, and maybe this will come across your algorithm, but I'm feeling generous. So she said, what Democrats need from this election is we need a Joe Rogan on our side. We need a Democrat echo chamber like a Joe Rogan and a Theo Vaughn on our side. Okay. Jen. Democrats, you can't force something to be organic and genuine. The reason why people trust and listen to these podcasts with millions of people is because it's not just about politics. It's about aliens. It's about space. It's about drugs. It's about sex. It's about comedy. It's about UFC fighting. It's about stories in your life. It's about connection. And that connection has been developing for long before Trump was even a consideration or a viable candidate or even in politics, for fuck's sake. That's how long Joe Rogan's show's been going on. So no, Jen Psaki, you can't just snap your fingers and say, we need to create something on this side, because then we would know that's why you're solely creating it. This thing didn't just happen. It took years. It took over a decade for Joe Rogan to be Joe Rogan. What aren't you getting? And it's not some mathematical formula where you could just, let's throw a bro that's not exactly Joe Rogan, but some alternate universe Joe Rogan that's for Democrats. That's not what this is. You know, like, I don't know how else to explain it, except for podcasts have connections with audiences because they trust them. And it's not just about tribal politics. They call balls and strikes. They say when they don't like things. They're not always in 100% agreement, rah, 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 cheerleading. And they aren't calling the other side Hitler. You know, it's just massively condescending and so short-sighted the way she's thinking about this. You can't just lab-grown meat create a podcast for your side. You know, it's never going to be a steak. It's never going to be a Rogan. What you should do is focus on maybe podcasts that do talk about other things besides politics, and maybe somebody genuinely interesting and organic will come out of that. And then maybe you can have some of your candidates come on that show. But that's the most you could hope for, because you want it to be genuine. Nobody was pushing Rogan to do this, or Theo Vaughn. They're just people. You're missing the point.